Béni central. Bonjour à tout le monde qui nous rejoint de près ou de loin.
Good morning, dear potential families. Good morning to all those who join us today. You're all welcome in this morning on the Gate session.
Nos différentes sessions depuis que nous avons commencé ce programme important sur
Thank you for those who join our various sessions
l'éducation
since
et
we
la
started education on matching and blessing.
Je serai votre MC ce matin.
I'll be a moderator this morning. I am Edwin
Avant que nous puissions
Plekanov.
commencer,
Before
lorsque
starting,
nous allons pouvoir passer à la promesse des familles qui nous sera
when we're going
accordée,
to move on to the
vous pourrez voir
family
aujourd'hui
pledge, that will be family pledge number
dans les
1.
résultats en
And
français
so today you can choose the
et en portugais.
screens. We have three
Cette
screens
session
in
est faite pour
English, French, and Portuguese, and you'll be seeing for the 100K reading and the different presentations
si la question
will be done in the various languages.
privilège. Au même moment, je voudrais dire que nous avons les trois langues
And
qui
also,
actuellement fonctionnent, l'anglais, le français et le
I'd like
portugais.
to mention that we have
Cette année,
interpretation in the
ça va
three
commencer
languages,
avec
English, French, and
et choisir la
Portuguese.
langue qui
So you can
vous
choose your preferred
facile à
language
comprendre
using
le
the
message de ce
interpretation
matin.
icon.
Avec la permission du Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, que je salue, le
With the
président
permission of the Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, which I agreed, the regional president, Reverend Jean-Pierre Kadima, the regional vice president,
qui sont ici,
and all of the sub-regional directors present here,
tous nos frères aînés, nos sœurs aînées, toutes les familles bénies centrales,
all our elder brothers, elder
membres
sisters, all potential families, even those who are not yet born, it's in the stomach once more, you're all welcome.
avec
And we are going to start this program
la salutation aux parents célestes et à nos chers parents.
with a greeting to heavenly parents and true parents.
Numéro
And then we are going to read family pledge number 1 and number 2. We are going to receive the opening prayer by Reverend Jean Tibanda, who is the Regional HDM Director. And after that, we're going to have the 100K reading that will be done by Reverend Sudan Rere, the regional director of Sub-Region North, who is actually in Burkina Faso. And just after that,
pour nous commenter sur le thème de ce jour, la vice-présidente
we are going to receive a regional president
le Cheon Eui Won Co-chair Bakary Camara.
for the
Nous aurons pour thème
opening remarks.
l'amour du père pour ses enfants.
Today's theme will be the love of a father to his children.
Et aux annonces,
And then we're going to move on. After the main presentation, we're going to move on to announcements. And then after the announcement, the regional president, Reverend Jean-Pierre Kadima, will give the closing remarks.
nous allons nous prier ensemble.
And then we're going to have a unison prayer, 3-minute unison prayer. Then great heavenly parents and true parents to conclude. So please let's all open our cameras as from now. And also at the end, we're going to take family pictures. So dear potential families, if you're all ready, we are going to offer a half bow to heavenly parents and true parents. Those who are in front of your screen, you can offer while seated. Those in the church sheets, please offer a full bow. Kiambe Baro. We are going to recite the family pledge. Family pledge number 1. Our family, the honor of Cheon Eui Cook, pledges to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation, by centering on true love. Number 2. Our family, The honor of Cheon Eui Won
en ce centre
pledges to represent and
de
become central
célébrer
to heaven and
l'anniversaire
earth
du parent céleste
by attending the heavenly parents and true
afin de
parents.
devenir une famille
We
sainte
pledge to perfect
et
the
recevoir
dutiful
le châtiment
family
nuptial
way
éternel
of Leah's sons and
de ceux
daughters
qui
in our
sont
family,
enfants de piété divine,
patriots in our nations,
oui, de
saints
patriotes
in the
dans les
world,
nations, de
and
saints dans
divine
les
sons and daughters
et de
in
fils et de
heaven
filles de Dieu sur
and
la
on
terre,
earth
mais aussi
by centering
en
on true
Jésus-Christ.
love. Ajo.
Nous allons donc inviter
We are now going to
le
invite
révérend
Reverend Jean
à
Chimbanda
la prière pour
for the
ouvrir.
opening prayer.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very
Salut,
much.
Cheon Eui Won donc, qui est présent dans ces
I'd
services.
like to greet our Cheon Eui Won Co-chair present
La
here,
vice-présidente.
and also greet the regional president, the regional vice president, all the sub-regional directors, as well as national leaders and all blessed central families.
La prière.
Please join me in
Donc,
prayer.
bien-aimés parents célestes,
Beloved
aujourd'hui, nous
Heavenly
sommes
parents,
le 20 février
today we are
2023,
the 20th of
qui
February
correspond au premier jour du deuxième
2023,
mois de la
which
saison agricole haïtienne.
corresponds
Nous sommes
to the
réunis
first day of
pour
the second
célébrer
month
les trois générations,
of the year of Cheon Eui Won.
représentées par
We
le
are
leadership ici.
gathered here in the structure of three generations,
Recevoir
represented
l'invitation,
by
de recevoir
our
l'invitation qui puisse nous
leaders
permettre à
present
remplir notre
here
devoir
in order to receive directives
en
and
appliquant
guidance
au
that
nom de la
will help us to
décentralisation.
accomplish our
Mais avant
duty
toute chose, bien-aimés parents
as
célestes, nous voulons exprimer
children and also as children of first generation.
premièrement notre gratitude envers nos
Before
précieux et
all,
merveilleux parents du ciel, de la terre et de l'humanité.
we would like
Nos
to
parents
express our
paternels,
gratitude
fraternels,
to Heavenly
amoureux
Parents,
et
our gratitude
affectueux,
to our true
et
parents of
également
heaven
ceux
and
qui ont
earth,
bien
and
dirigé cette
humankind,
providence,
particularly to our beloved True
vivant
Mother who is
sous leur
guiding
direction divine.
this providence,
Bien-aimés parents célestes, c'est
which
un
has
grand
as goal the
privilège pour nous
establishment of Cheon Eui
de
Won.
participer
Beloved Heavenly
à ce
Parent, it's a
travail
great privilege for
qui vise,
us
somme toute,
to
l'objectif
participate
à relever, vivre un fils qui est l'un des sept jours.
in this work
Mais
going
toutefois, nous
on
sommes
to
nombreux
the
ici ce soir
many of
qui, par
saints
la
and
grâce de
sages
Dieu,
of the past
sommes là
dreamt of
ce
this
soir devant notre Dieu
possibility
Tout-Puissant.
but could not have it.
Nous avons le
Today we
privilège de
have this
participer à ce grand
opportunity
travail
and have the privilege
et
to
nous
really
demandons bien
participate in this
de nous
ritual.
avoir pardonné tous
And we
nos
want to
péchés,
ask your
tous nos
Heavenly Parent
accomplissements
to
du passé.
forgive all our
Et si nous sommes
inaccomplishments
réunis dans ces
of
services
the past.
et pendant ces
And if
moments,
we are gathered in this morning on the weekend during this
c'est
period,
d'efficace
is to
se
be
préparer à
able
cela, que ça puisse
to prepare
clarifier nos
ourselves
ignorances et nos
in
péchés.
order to be
Nous prions,
better
comme nous l'avons tous
and
prié,
in order
pour
to
l'Afrique,
answer your
cette
call.
spiritualité, cette
We
dimension
are present in front of you in this morning as
notamment
the
l'œuvre
region
missionnaire.
of Africa, this
Nous
region
voulons toujours
of
faire comme
hope, our
parents
beloved
célestes,
true
faire de cela
parents,
un
believe in us,
devoir
our beloved true
d'accomplir
parents,
de piété
have
chrétienne.
hope, having parents
Prévoir
in
donc,
us.
parents
So I
célestes,
really
ce
want
n'est
to
pas
pray
d'être
that
des
we should be able
observateurs
to
passifs.
accomplish our
Parents,
duty
moi c'est moi,
of children of Leo
nous
Party,
avons comme
this
mission de
duty
faire en
that
sorte
will
que
be
nos familles
expressed through the
soient des
accomplishment of our own
ministères
part of
d'ascension.
responsibility. Heavenly parents,
Nous avons comme
we
bien-aimés parents célestes
promise
de
to
faire
bring
d'ici
1/3
2027
of the world's
et nous
population
avons comme
in
parents
front
une
of your
avocate
altar by
et c'est pas demain,
2027. But
mais
we
nous
have to
attendons
understand that we
ouvrir
should not wait
à notre famille,
200 and we should not wait 2027,
le
but this
résultat de
month,
notre accompagnement
Heavenly Parent,
et
this
notre
year
implication dans la
should
vie.
be a year where
C'est comme
we
nous avons
should
reçu
bring
ce
results
message
through the
et c'est ce
result
pourquoi
through
et afin d'être
the
préparé
mobilization for the
sereinement
blessing. That's why I really
pour
want
le
to
jour
pray
J.
that we should be set and
Nous
prepared to
devons nous
receive your
préparer
guidance
pour
this
être
morning,
assis à
receive
vos
your
côtés.
love this
Mais ce n'est
morning.
pas dû à
We
ce
have
que nous
always
connaissions
been able to
vraiment
receive it,
l'information,
but we want to
mais nous
pray that
voulons
particularly we
divulguer
should be able to
l'information.
share it with
Et c'est pourquoi
everyone,
nous demandons, parents célestes,
particularly for
ce
this
qui a permis nos
blessing
compagnons
that we should be able,
de
Heavenly
passer,
Parent, to be
nous soyons capables
at
de
the same
passer
level.
outre.
I want to pray that all
Ce sont
what
des
have been
difficultés que
difficulties in
nous
the past
rencontrons dans
should
la
be
famille.
destroyed.
Et c'est
And
pourquoi nous voulons
We really want to pray that we should receive a good education and a good training from you in order to better use this period in which we are living in, because it's a period where we have to be born anew. It's a period where we have to take new engagements. We have to be determined to move forward, and nothing has to block us towards the accomplishment of training group. I really want to pray that you should start this service with us and end it with us, particularly since you are in the beginning of the week. I pray that every parent should be able to make this week a week of victory, a week of accomplishments. And I really want to pray that make sure that Africa should always be ready to offer the results you're waiting from us. We want to promise this, every parents, we want to promise that we will be able to do our part of responsibility. That is why Heavenly Parents, we want to be united with our central figures, starting with the Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, regional president, regional vice president, up to our pastors. I really want to pray that we should be united, centered on the central Heavenly Parents axis, and that we should be able to accomplish the purpose. Father, we want to pray that you should be with all your children that are in difficulties in the sense of your spiritual life. I really want to pray that during this period should be a period where each and every one of us, Heavenly Parents, can look for ways, Heavenly Parent, to come back to you. I really want to pray, should we listen with all those who moved Heavenly Father away from you. Now is the time for them to come back. So I really want to pray that you should open our ears so we can be able to understand everything that we said here. I offer this and this prayer in the name of Blessed Central Family, Chimbanda, Ajo. Ajo, thank you very much, Reverend Chibanda, for this prayer. As I said earlier, we have three screens that will be displayed: the screen in English, the screen in French, and the screen in Portuguese. So it's a moment for us to be well seated to receive this morning's Hondoke. As I said earlier, we are going to borrow the voice of Sub-Regional Director Su. So if the technical team is ready, please display the Hondoke.
Bonjour à notre Cheon Co-chair.
Good morning to our Cheon Eui Won Co-chair. Good morning to our regional president, our regional vice president. Good morning to all the central families present here today.
Donc ensemble de que je vais lire.
So please join me in the Hondoke reading.
Un citoyen du monde épris de paix.
As a peace-loving global citizen, promise that must never be broken, Somyamon.
Lors de nos cérémonies de fiançailles et
During our matching and marriage ceremonies, I asked the brides and grooms to make promises to each other that must never be broken. First, a husband and a wife must always trust and love each other. Second, they must not cause any pain to the heart of your partner. Third, they must educate their children and grandchildren to maintain sexual purity. Fourth, all members of their family must help and encourage each other so that they become a true ideal family. Chastity before marriage and fidelity in the marriage are of utmost importance. This is what I teach so people can live to their highest potential as human beings, creating and maintaining healthy families. Marriage is more than a simple coming together of a man and a woman. It is a precious ceremony of commitment to carry on God's work of creation. Marriage is a path by which a man and a woman become as one, create new life, and establish true love. Through marriage, a new future is created. Societies are formed, nations are built. God's wall of peace is realized when married families are the center. It is in a family that God's kingdom of heaven is brought about.
Les conjoints sont amenés à être des centres de paix.
So husbands and wives must be centers of peace. Not only must there be love between the husband and wife, but the couple must always be able to bring harmony to their extended families. It is not enough that the husband and wife live well together in love. All the relatives must love each other as well.
Je dis aux jeunes époux
I tell bride and grooms to have many children, to bear many children
et les éduquer
and raise them
d'une bénédiction.
is God's blessing.
Quand l'être humain décide
It is
d'arrêter à
unthinkable
rompre
that human beings apply their own standards of judgment and arbitrarily abort precious lives given to them by God. All life born into this world embodies God's will.
noble,
All life is noble and precious, so it must be cared for and protected. Naturally,
essentiel que les
a
époux
married husband and
confiance
wife must maintain mutual trust and nurture their love.
j'insiste
The promise that emphasizes the most to people preparing to marry is teach your children to maintain sexual purity.
c'est une promesse qui va
This is an obvious promise,
elle est
but
difficile à tenir
it has become difficult to keep in today's society.
plus le monde va
The
mal,
worse the world
il est
becomes,
rigoureux
however, the more important it is to strictly keep the promise of sexual purity. The perfection of human beings
la paix dans le monde
and peace in the world come about through the family.
but de la religion
The purpose of religion is for everyone to become people of goodness
alors un
who
monde
can then bring about an ideal world of peace.
des politiciens
No matter how much politicians may put their heads together,
à établir
they will not bring about peace.
une extraordinaire puissance
Formidable military power
s'installera
will not bring
n'installera pas la paix.
peace.
Le point de départ
The starting point for bringing about peace is the family.
à Dieu
Ajo.
Nous allons pouvoir ovationner
We are now going
de notre
to give a round of applause for Treperrin's precious words in his book as a
pour la paix. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
global
Nous allons
peace-loving
commencer
citizen. So thank you very much for the reading. We are now, as I said earlier, moved to the three important presentations under a very important theme, which is the love of a father for his children, the love of a daddy to his children. This morning, the vice regional president, the regional president, and the Cheon Eui Won Co-chair will help us better understand these words we just read centered on the theme. So now, dear brothers and sisters, dear families, we are now going to receive the regional vice president, Mrs. Mika Amelaman.
Good morning. Good morning to our Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, Papa Kamara, and good morning to our regional president, Papa Kadima. Good morning to all of our sub-regional directors, national leaders, and blessed families, and all my brothers and sisters. It's good to be here again this morning. I hope you've had a good week as we now begin another week in relation to living together with God and your parents. For me, I'll be sharing a short reflection based on the Hundoke reading. And I really felt, I would like to give my reflection. I'm sure we all could have got some point from what was shared today. And then we will also be hearing a lot more from our regional president and Cheon Eui Won Co-chair. I think if I give a summary of the points that were raised, I think they're very clear, right? Very clear that True Father was sharing in relation to the marriage blessing and the promises that we need to keep when we enter into this blessing, right? And the first one was to trust and to love our spouse, right? To keep that promise of trusting and loving our spouse. The second one was to not cause pain in the heart of our spouse, right? And living according to our promise of really loving our spouse no matter what. And the third one was teaching our children and grandchildren to maintain sexual maturity. And that also was the promise, right, that True Father mentioned. And then the fourth one is to help and encourage each other's extended family also to become ideal family. Yeah. So these 4 points I feel are very clear, right, of how really we need to keep and when we enter into the marriage blessing, what truly that means and what are we truly saying when we say yes to that, to those vows, right, and to those promises that we commit ourselves to. And what I want to touch upon mainly is actually this point for me on teaching our children and grandchildren on maintaining sexual purity. Yeah, I really feel, even when I was sharing recently my testimony on the blessing, I feel like I even how I was raised or how I saw the blessing, you know, it was very much like this ideal to aspire to. But I also felt it was, you know, in many ways, we kind of put it as kind of the only thing that needs to be done. And then, okay, then we're set for life. And maybe for our children, the only kind of, okay, this is the climax, this is what they all need to do, and then we are set for life, we'll be okay. But actually, what I see here, even the point of saying children and grandchildren, it means that actually the blessing is not going to stop at just, for example, your children, you know, but even how to even teach your grandchildren to also keep and maintain sexual purity and then receive the blessing. So it means that the blessing, you know, is not the end. I think we all can understand that, but it's truly the beginning of really living now life according to Heavenly Parentage Parents, creating a family according to the original tradition. And so I do feel this is something we need to be reminded of, because as much as we push or think, you know, okay, now the blessing, our children have received the blessing, actually it goes even beyond that. And how are we actually going to connect and live our life in the way or in the tradition for which our children can continue to maintain the sexual purity, until our grandchildren even can continue to maintain the sexual purity and actually pass the lineage centering on Heavenly Parent. So I really felt this point is something I believe is very real to even me, learning now that even now I have my children, it might not, you know, at this point they're still young, but what I really feel we need to keep in our hearts is how to create a community, and how to create a community that can really keep the tradition. There's one word I remember True Father mentioned, that lineage is important. It's actually the biggest importance, but even before lineage, or meaning even tradition, he was saying that tradition, what's more important than lineage is actually also tradition. And the reason for that is because it's tradition that helps maintain the lineage, right? So this is something also I feel we have to recognize, and myself as well, because even when I see my children, they're young at this point, maybe I'm not talking so much about, you know, keeping their purity, you know, but at least I should start creating that tradition, right? Creating that tradition around them where they come to see and be with God through hundoke, through prayer, you know, and creating that community around them that really emphasizes really the relationship of parent and child, brothers and sisters. And I feel this, for me, if I look back on my life, really it's what is needed, you know, to really be able to keep and teach about lineage and to keep that kind of understanding of lineage. So as much as we wanting to bring our children to the blessing, you know, I think even before then is how can we start to keep that tradition in our life? How can we keep living with God and true parents? And how can our children start, even that becomes a habit for them? And so that's not only just on the family, just on the nuclear family, the mom and father, and the children, but that's also on the community. And that's really something I've been trying to really realize, because I think beyond just the families, if our community also is very strong and keeping this tradition and living according to Heavenly parents, then also naturally our children, who end up now going into their teenage age where peers become, quite relevant to them, they also can start having a stronger environment around them to protect them, to guide them. And even when they're out, they're very much connected to our community. So this is something I really wanted to express, how we as a community can start living and maintaining and keeping our tradition so that we can also start to really keep our lineage. I think this is still something we are still developing, because to be honest, our environment is so strong that it's actually taken and realized, kind of connected our children to a lot of things that unfortunately are not ideal, are not what God intended for us. And that's something I feel we still are in the early generation. We haven't been able to really break through the environment that is very strong. But we can start first with the family, and we can start first with the community, and then expand that now to the nation and to the world. So I feel the point about teaching our children about teaching our children and grandchildren about maintaining sexual purity is something that really struck me. And also the fourth one, to help and encourage each other to become ideal family. True Father was mentioning it's not enough to just be together as husband and wife and love each other, and then just be your family. You have to bring now your extended family, bring and encourage all families to be true ideal families, because actually only your own nuclear family is not going to be able to truly, completely, bring about that tradition that will, connect God to God's lineage. But if we encourage each other to become ideal family, go beyond just our own family to also raise the children in our other families, to guide them, to support them, to bring all of our families together in our tradition. This is also a promise we make when we enter into the marriage blessing, right? And I think it's a promise sometimes we forget when we are still dealing with our own challenges in our family. So I think our Cheon Eui Won mentioned one time, we need to go now even beyond just our own nuclear family, but even now start bringing other children, other blessed children who maybe have lost their way or who are out, and let's really love them and guide them as God's children, not just our own children, because actually we are all God's children, especially of the blessed children of God's lineage. We should really recognize we actually here not as their parents straight away, but actually as their guardians, as the ones to take care of them, entrusted by God to take care of them. And so therefore, how to bring all of them to come to recognize God, that's the role of our parent, in our position. So these points I wanted to reflect on myself as a young mother, as a young parent. I think I'm also definitely still learning, and these words are very needed for me to even now see how to create that environment and how to keep these 4 points in my mind constantly as I also work to becoming a loving wife, and also a loving parent, and also a parent that really will bring the traditions of my children and our children, the children of Heavenly Parent, can come to recognize who they are and really keep and maintain the sexual purity, which is actually going to be what will bring God's lineage into the world and God's ideal. So that's what I would like to share with all my parents here and my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much. I hope we can really reflect on these words this morning and help that guide our week and also our life, because this is the commitment we made when we all said yes to receiving the blessing. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much to
Mika
our Regional Vice
Malaman,
President, Mrs. Mika Malaman,
cette réflexion qui nous
for this reflection that brings us to the day we all met our our pledge during the blessing, and we all shouted yes without understanding what it implied. Now that we are on the field, we understand better the meaning of this yes. The meaning of this yes to our heavenly parents and true parents, of this yes to our husbands and wives.
Nous allons recevoir le président régional, Reverend
So
Jean-Pierre
without
Kadima.
wasting more time, we are going to receive the regional president, Reverend Jean-Pierre Kadima. And as I announced earlier, we are going to receive important presentations that will be done by our regional president and the Cheon Eui Won Co-chair under the theme "The Love of a Father to His Children." So please let's all offer a round of applause to welcome the regional president, Reverend Jean-Pierre Kadima.
Merci, Monsieur le Secrétaire
Général. Thank you, dear Regional Secretary General, our MC this morning, for giving me the floor.
Je voudrais, avant toute chose, saluer respectueusement notre Cheon Eui
So
Won
I want to start before everything else by greeting our Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, the regional vice president, all the sub-regional directors, all the Black Central families, all the national leaders present here, all the members of Heavenly Parents Holy Community participating in this session.
Notre réflexion ce matin va partir
Our reflection this morning
du cours modèle, le modèle.
will be centered on the model, on in the divine principle,
le cours de Jacob.
the model pathway is that of Jacob.
Que j'ai toujours tiré,
And in this
c'est cette
course,
sensibilité
what I always learn
de
is
Rebecca,
this humility of Rebecca.
alors que
Why?
elle tétait
She was
les
giving,
enfants des deux jumeaux.
while she was treating
C'est des
the
enfants
two,
encore dans son ventre. Elle
these
va,
twins when they were
les
still
mouvements
in
naturels
her
que
stomach.
toute femme sent,
So she
n'est-ce pas
will,
bien,
through the movement, natural movement, which all human feel,
c'est étrange.
she
Elle
were
ne veut pas aller par quatre chemins.
trying to understand that.
Elle va
And
demander à Dieu, au Parent céleste.
she went directly to ask to God, the heavenly parents, and the answer of God
Pour lui dire
did
que
not
les
take long.
nations
God told him that, God told her that the two nations
et que le cadet va
are
subjuguer.
fighting in your stomach, and that the younger one will take over the elder one. And everything started from that point up to the the birth of the two children, and
Esaü
Jacob and Esau
ont évolué jusqu'à 5
grew
ans.
together.
L'histoire nous raconte les péripéties, le cours de Jacob qui a été établi comme un cours modèle. Partant de la famille,
So now that the history,
Jacob a gardé cette tradition et ça l'a permis
as from there, Jacob kept his tradition, which permitted him to survive all temptations
il va réaliser que
until he realized that the victory he had, all the riches he had, all what he gained was not for him as an individual.
à penser
And so he started
que cette bénédiction,
thinking
c'est la bénédiction de la
that this
famille.
blessing was a blessing of the family. And he went back to his family, and on his path, on his way back to his family, he went back with so many riches, with families, that's Leah and Rachel, with all their children.
Comment il a réussi à convaincre
So how did
comment
he
il a réussi
succeed in
à
convincing
enseigner
his children to follow him? How did he gain this victory onto going back home?
considéré comme le cours
All this is considered as a model course. And today we have true parents.
Les textes de ce matin, le petit
The homework reading,
si la technique est prête,
the text I'll present to you this morning, if the thing is reading, is
vrai père
inspired from our true father himself.
de notre vrai père.
These are true parents' words, true father's words.
Que nous prenons
How
modèle
our true
pour
father,
se comporter
which we take as a
avec ses
model,
enfants. Ça, c'est
was
que nous allons
acting
lire ce
with
matin.
his children. So this is what we are going to read this morning.
Et c'est dans ce livre,
And the
Élever
reading
les enfants
is from this book, Raising Children in God's Will.
Jusque-là, je n'ai que le titre. Si on peut,
So,
l'écran, il n'y a que les titres. Si on peut projeter. Donc ici,
so
il
here
s'agit des paroles de notre Père
we are talking
qui nous montrent
of true fathers'
en tant que parents
words
quel doit être notre comportement
who
vis-à-vis
shows
de nos
us
enfants, afin qu'il reste
our character as
dans le
parents,
respect de la tradition, qu'il soit uni
so we
avec
can
nous,
be
parce que nous avons
models for our
aussi
children, so that our children should always be united with us,
occupations,
because we
tant de
always
responsabilités
have
qu'on n'a
many
pas le
things to
temps
do,
pour
many
éduquer
responsibilities,
nos
and
enfants, pour
most
prendre
of the
soin d'eux.
time we don't have time
Et
to
le
educate our
Messie,
children, we don't have time to take care of
qui
them.
est notre
But the
modèle,
Messiah, who is our model,
lui,
how did he
qu'est-ce que lui faisait?
do? How was
C'est
he
ce
doing?
texte
This is what we are going to learn from this reading.
notre Père qui parle. Jusqu'à ce
So,
que
True
Yejin
Father says,
et Yejin aient 12 ans,
until
peu
Yojin
importe
and
ce que
Yejin were
j'avais
12 years old, no matter what I had
peu importe
done, no matter
à quel point
no
j'étais
matter
fatigué,
how
je
tired
priais
I was, I
pendant qu'ils
prayed
dormaient.
over them while they were
Comprenez-vous
sleeping.
ce que j'essaie
Do you
de dire?
understand what I'm trying to
Ce n'est
say?
pas facile d'être parent.
It is not easy being a
Les enfants
parent.
devraient
The
être
children should be
capables de
able
ressentir
to feel
automatiquement,
automatically,
tout comme mon père
just as my father loved
nous
me,
devons aimer nos enfants.
so we must love our
Vous
children.
devez être capable
You have to be able to make your children feel that
que vous êtes le
you
meilleur
are the
père
best
du monde.
father in the
Vous
world.
devez faire ça.
You have to do this. Do you understand?
Et tout le monde,
And everyone
voilà,
answered,
a dit oui.
yes.
Donc,
So,
avant que nous puissions dire autre chose, avant que nous puissions nous plaindre,
before
nous puissions
we complain,
les uns et les autres,
before we complain about each other,
toujours nous
we
interroger.
should always ask ourselves our
Avons-nous
questions.
eu un tel
We should always ask
comportement
ourselves the question, have we had this type of attitude
Je disais
towards our children?
autrefois,
Because,
nous
as
pensons
I
à
said
la bénédiction
earlier,
de nos enfants, nous
we
pensons
think of the blessing of our children, we think of
au
the
moment
uh,
où
education of our
nous sommes
children
en mesure de les préparer dès le bas âge. Au moment où,
late.
malgré nos occupations, malgré nos responsabilités, malgré nos engagements, nous ne sommes pas allés pour nous interroger. Alors notre Père
So, we don't
comment
do
il
that
a
at the
fait?
right time. We have to
Qu'est-ce
start
qu'il a fait?
in
Quel est son
when our
secret?
children are young.
Notre Père nous l'a dit.
So now we can
Nous
take
montrons
example from
après
our
le
true
modèle
father.
lui-même, le
He
Messie.
showed us the example, the model,
Malgré ses mains.
him,
Et
the
voilà
Messiah,
ce qu'il fait.
although
Il a
he's
fait.
occupied.
Et comment il s'est
This is
comporté
what he did, what he
pour qu'en fait,
did
puisse par la
for
suite,
his children,
après,
so
quand
that
on voit le comportement ou quand on se retrouve dans une situation ou d'une autre
after
difficulté ou une autre, on
when
peut
we
apprendre
meet us, we find ourselves in a
Il y
difficulty,
a des adages, par exemple, qui disent
we have to
on donne naissance
be
à un
sure
enfant, mais
that
ton cœur, on
it is not
ce sont les assertions.
our fault, because there is a saying that we give birth to a child, but we don't know his heart. But I am not okay with this saying, Because with all what we have, as the privilege, first of all, the blessing we receive from our true parents and our heavenly parents,
Emploi du temps,
with all our
faire quelque chose au modèle de notre
concern for our
père,
children,
parce que nous ne pouvons pas
even
faire
though
ça
we are
mieux que
occupied, if we
d'autrefois.
do everything
Qui
following true Father
ne
as a
jamais
model,
à cause
we will not
des
complain
comportements que
ourselves
nous avons remarqués.
for everything, and we will not also accuse our children for
Et
a
penser à eux comme si
character they portrayed.
ce n'est pas la volonté
To
de
continue
Dieu
reading,
que vous deveniez
once the
salis
one of my children were
et
waiting for
famille
me in
accueillie par
Korea.
le monde
I thought about them
sanctifié
like this.
et
It is not the original will of God for you to become dirtied
ayant
and
rien à
starved by the
faire
satanic
satisfaire.
wall. But I understand
C'est
everything.
difficile,
But right now, there is
s'il vous
nothing that
plaît.
can be done about it.
Soyez en paix.
Even if it is
Chaque
difficult,
fois que je
please
pensais
endure.
ainsi,
Every time
je
I
dis,
talk like this,
même si je
even
passe
if I
avec
am
mes
with
enfants,
the
je
children for
vais
one day
dans leur
only,
chambre
I
prendre
go
un
into
petit
their
verre
room while
sur
they
la
are
paume de leur
sleeping
main.
and kiss them.
Parce que même à
Why?
travers cette
Because even
condition,
though
chaque fois que
that
je les
condition,
rencontre,
even through
il me
that
fait le
condition,
cœur de mes
every
joie
time I
parce que
meet them
et
and
ensemble,
feel joy at seeing
je
them,
sais
I am reminded of my
qu'il a
responsibility
travaillé pour
and I
établir
am
la volonté de
stimulated
Dieu
to
depuis le
work
baptême
to
du
realize
Saint-Esprit.
God's will
C'est
as
la
quickly
situation.
as possible.
Le
This
problème
is my
est la
situation.
réalisation du
The
royaume des
problem
cieux.
is the realization of the
Donc,
kingdom of
c'est
heaven.
une condition minimale
So
que
this
nous
is
avions
a
alors que les
small
enfants
condition
d'entrer dans leur
that
chambre, se
is
lever
when
de
children
leur
are
chambre, soit
sleeping,
prier, soit
the
dire
father
quelques
should
mots de
enter into a
salut
room,
pour que,
pray with
parce que
them,
peut-être demain
or
matin,
kiss
quand ils
them,
devront sortir pour aller
because tomorrow
travailler,
morning maybe they will
ils
not
auront
see me
cette
because they'll go to
condition
work, but at
qui
least
permet
this
à ce qu'il y ait
minimum
une
condition
connexion,
will
permet à
permit
ce
that
que
there is a connection,
ce que je dis,
permit
c'est
for
que
a
le
connection
confinement
with
voit nos
the
soucis,
children.
nos occupations, nos problèmes, mais
Our true
elles
parents, of
voient
course, see
surtout
what we are
ce
doing. They see how much we
nous
are
prenons le
occupied,
temps
but
de
at
donner un fisc, de faire un
what
fisc, un geste
extent
très
are we
particulier,
occupied for our
de faire
children?
des,
At
des
what
câlins
extent do we want to
chaleureux,
sacrifice a little bit for our
des
children? Just
salutations
a prayer for them,
chaleureuses,
just a hug for them so they can feel
observer
the
ce que nous sommes
warmth
en train de
of
donner
our
pour
love
les maintenir
in order to
dans la
conserve all
dans
what
la ligne
we
droite de
gave
la
them
providence et de la conduite,
in order to
et
maintain them
ensuite
in the
ils ont
straight line of the providence
aussi développer aussi
and in
l'union.
order
Donc,
to really be united
il en
with them.
coûte, quoi qu'il en coûte, je vais
So
dans le royaume des cieux. C'est mon désirable.
I
Et bénir
will
ma
continue
famille
reading. So whatever it takes, I
c'est
want
ce
to
que
have
mes
them live in the kingdom of heaven. It is my fervent desire to be able to bless them in marriage in the kingdom of heaven. I feel responsible to do this. When the children see how their parents are suffering in this way, they must think, even if I don't go to heaven and receive the prayer and blessing, receiving the blessing here is more precious than receiving the blessing in heaven. They need to be able to stand in the position in which they tell their parents not to be sad and not to worry, and they will try to comfort them. If this doesn't happen, then big problems will arise. We have to have our children inherit that kind of tradition. So,
la vie de notre Père
the life
a été une vie modèle. Chaque fois quand nous disons
of our true father
que dans tout ce
was
que
a
nous
model
faisons, dans
life.
tout ce que nous réalisons, nous avons une référence.
In everything we do, everything we realize, we have a reference,
Nous
and the
connaissons
reference are our true parents.
des solutions, la manière de guider les enfants, la manière d'éduquer nos enfants, la manière
Sometimes we look for solutions, we look for ways to guide our children, we look for ways to make our children grow according to our own intelligence, according to our own experiences. While we have true parents, true father, true mother who are already the model,
que nous devons
they have all the strategies, they have
C'est
all
pourquoi j'ai commencé
the
par
technical
cet exemple
uh,
de Rebecca. Et tout ce que vous
solutions
allez demander à
for
Dieu,
our children.
voilà ce que je
Why
fais.
did I start with the example of Rebecca?
Parfois, quand
Because she could go and ask
quand
anything
tu vas
she
prendre un
wanted
enfant,
to other women that, okay, you
la
have
référence,
children or you had uh, twins
et
before.
quand elle
So how do you manage them?
et
She could ask them to other women, but she went directly to
ainsi
God.
que la vie de
And
Dieu
when she
lui
received the direction from God, she stayed in this direction. She stayed um,
nous avons
you followed it completely in order to give victory to God. So we have all these strategies, we have all of this in true Father's words in the principle.
Prendre le temps d'aller puiser souvent la sagesse, puiser des stratégies afin de comprendre
And we have to
comment
make time
comment nous pouvons
to
vivre
look for
ensemble,
strategies in true
comment nous
parents'
pouvons
words on how we can
comment
orient
quelles
our
sont les
children, how we can
stratégies que
educate
nous
our children and our
utilisons
families.
jusqu'à l'âge de
Continue already. For 15 or
c'est pas
16
facile de
years, I went and prayed over the children until they were 12 years old. It is not easy being a mother and father to such precious children. It is not easy to be mother and father to such precious children. I always think, what can I do for you? I am not going to be indebted to you. I will pray for your blessing while you are sleeping, and I will embrace you and kiss you. Because I have no time, I cannot hold your hands all the time. So, with a sorry heart, I tell you that my embraces and kisses are for eternity. This is how I am living. Extraordinary.
C'est comme ça que notre vrai Père a
That
vécu.
is how our true father
Je
lived.
pense, famille bénie centrale,
And I think with central
notre vie
families,
avec nos familles,
that our life with our families
très
should
souvent,
have been this
nous ne
way.
sommes pas allés dans les paroles de notre vrai Père. Nous ne sommes pas allés dans la vérité du principe.
But most of the time, we don't go towards true parents' world. We don't go in the divine principle.
Plus souvent ensemble,
Always, I ask my members
sommes-nous
when we
partis
meet ourselves,
tellement
how
nous
many
avons
times do
une
we gather and
excellente
share
vérité qui
on what we have
définit ce que nous
we
sommes.
have
Mais des fois, nous partageons nos expériences.
as most precious from the world that makes us who
Combien
we
de
are?
fois nous
How
nous
many times do we
exprimons
share
la
our
parole de
experiences?
notre
How many
Père
times do we share
à
our
nos propres
suffering?
parents?
How
Est-ce que
much
nous
are
avons
we
statué sur les problèmes
inspired from true
qui nous sont
parents'
statué
words,
sur les
from true father words,
très souvent,
in order to have
nous oublions
solutions
cette
to our
réalité.
various problems and issues?
Or,
Most of the time, we forget its reality.
un
Why?
trésor précieux dans les
We
paroles
have
de
a
notre Père,
precious treasure in
dans
true parents' word,
l'autobiographie de notre vrai Père.
in true mother's
En histoire, nous
autobiography,
savons tous.
in the various
Les vrais parents sont le modèle. Comment eux, ils ont fait devant cette situation
in the
difficile?
various words of
Qu'est-ce
true
qu'ils ont fait?
parents. They are the model cause. How did they do? We have to always ask our question. In this situation, what will a true father have done? In this situation, what would true mother have done? I look for a book, I look for anything, a word of true parents, I read from them, and I'm going to be inspired. So the orientation of our children, the way the path they're going to take depends on us. We are a family. So doing the spiritual conditions while our children sleep, it's very important. How many times when we come back, maybe late, we are tired, we mm, we just justify ourselves saying we don't have time. We give the responsibility to each other. We condemn ourselves. We condemn ourselves. It's just like in the.
Quand la fille réussit, c'est la fille de papa. Quand elle échoue, c'est sa
It's just
faute.
like in the
Voilà, ça c'est ta fille, ça c'est ton
outside world
Quand
when
il est bon,
the daughter
c'est mon fils.
fails, they will say,
Quand il a
"Okay,
des soucis,
that is your
il
daughter."
se rejette la responsabilité.
But when she succeeds, you
Mais
will be
nous avons
okay. That is
été
my daughter. We don't have to be
éduqués
this type of
orientés
parent
à travers le
because we have
principe,
been
à travers
educated,
la
we have been
parole.
oriented through
Dieu
the
nous a donné
divine
le pouvoir
principle, through the
parce que
word.
nos parents
God
sont
gave us
nos
the
parents
strength.
spirituels et
True
ils ont
parents
passé
gave us
par
this
cette voie.
strength because they went
Ils ont
through this
été
path.
comme le modèle et voilà,
They
ils
have
nous
been like the model path.
C'est pourquoi
And now they are showing us
aujourd'hui,
how
nous sommes
we can
tous
overcome equally our various
sans
difficulties. So I wanted us to really
Et ce qui nous fait grave,
reflect on this short text on how true Father himself lived with his children. And most importantly, the last paragraph was so beautiful. And if we think about it, we understand clearly
avec quel comportement
with which attitude we have to educate our children, with which attitude we have to educate our children, which kind of model are we.
le modèle est là.
So
Inspirons-nous du modèle
the model is there. Let's get inspired by it
tout ce que nous
in
avons
order to find a solution to all
que j'avais à
those
partager avec vous ce matin.
who have issues, for all of us who have issues in our family. So this is the little I wanted to share with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank
Merci
you. Thank you very much, Regional President,
cette réflexion
for this reflection,
importante pour
and so important for each and every one of us
qui sont assis ici.
as parents, seated here, as husbands and wives. We are so much grateful.
Connecter cette réflexion à celle
We are going to connect this reflection
dans la position de grands-parents du continent.
to
Le Cheon Eui Won
that of the person who is at the position of grandfather of this continent, the Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, Ren Bakari. He prepared something for us, so please let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Dear General Secretary, pour m'avoir donné la parole.
Thank you for giving me the floor, dear Regional Secretary General.
Really, I am so proud of this whole event. It's a reality of heavenly grace that we can find ourselves together with common focus and a same heart to try to inherit true parents' heart and tradition to move on for the next generation. In many periods of my life of faith, I can say this is very exciting for me, and it gives me hope based on this fundamental structure and how also regional president is handling this very well with the whole staff, vice president, sub-regional director, all staff for Africa HQ. I greet you all. Thank you, President Kadima and Mrs. Kadima, for this beautiful platform. And also thank you, the vice presidents, youth leaders, and sub-regional director for your support. National leaders also, and blessed families. We had to use this opportunity to really express our gratitude to our beloved true parents, our beloved true mother, all such kind of grace coming from them. So based on what I heard so far, all these two speeches are so precious. And of course, as a grandparent now, I could say it's not an easy journey to come to realize the tradition, to maintain the tradition, and to pass it on with a clear security. And while we are living in the world which is like a jungle, it's very, very tricky. That's why when the first message related to me directly is trust between husband and wife. And I always feel in my heart that I'm so sorry for my wife, because sometimes it's difficult to understand clearly the heart. And as I mentioned many times, she's very patient and very, very patient and silent. So he had to dig in that silence to find a way to move on. And in that sense, I had to say, I don't know. She may testify if she trusts me, but I trust her for sure. And it took time because of different culture, of course, different way of seeing things. And but things start coming together when we all start embracing the universal tradition by our beloved true parents. And that came when we are focusing on raising up our spiritual children. And that's why I figured out that is not everything we will learn from the book. Life itself, practically, we learn a lot. Personally, before even you got children to raise on behalf of two parents, living in the center with many spiritual children leading them, actually that protect us, well, protect me, I would say, to not go over certain situation, not fight officially, and avoid certain attitudes, certain way of doing things, because my spiritual children are surrounding. They will not say much because they don't know externally more than myself. Then, but in my conscience, I feeling very, very, very challenged, witnessing to them the ideal of creation, the ideal of principle, and living another lifestyle. Well, I couldn't really afford that contradiction. So then I had to make an effort to overcome many of my fallen nature, and that create a foundation for reconciliation with my wife. So that's why I would say the foundation of community and spiritual children is a great support, absolutely great support. We are not losing with our spiritual children. We are winning with them, absolutely. And they create an environment where we can survive, we can breathe, and we can receive healing. So I would say, yeah, that helped me to develop certain attitude which address the lack of trust and unity between me and my wife. So raising the children now is so clear what President Kadima said. True father, true parent are the model case. And that's why also when I look at that mirror also, I really need to repent because, to be honest, sometimes I was thinking to make the children do what I want. Sometimes I was forgetting, and the particular case, what true parent and heavenly parent want. Because the lefuri, in the sense of excitement. So probably I want something quick, fast, now, and probably heavenly parent or true parent wants something step by step and to create a foundation. So it looks like principle, it looks like the truth, but probably it wasn't the right direction. So I can imagine also that will create a lot of challenge for the children we are carrying, we are supporting, and create a frustration and discouragement and discontentment. And that can push them away for another, to look for friendship there and here. When I think about that, I'm really also sorry. And I feel these two front or three fronts, as I always mention, is quite challenging. The only way which I discover is to really keep heavenly parent tradition, to seek for heavenly fortune, Holy Spirit, and heavenly parent guidance. And that tradition is really well mentioned. And we have a tradition well mentioned. Otherwise, to be on the front line to eliminate my fallen nature and to be on front line to unite with my spouse, to be on front line to be a parent, and which all are the same au point de départ, which means very complicated and confronting now the society. And so that's why my only refuge, I don't know if it's the English, but mon seul refuge à l'époque, c'était vraiment de faire en sorte que je me maintienne dans la tradition.
So
Je me maintienne dans la tradition
my
de
only
façon
refuge at that time was for me
sans
to
douter.
stay in the tradition, to maintain the tradition without any doubt, because sometimes when we take a long path maybe to live from one village to another. No, the roads are well thought. But in those days, to live from one village to another, you had to follow a particular path. And when it was raining, the path was all destroyed. So you had to keep faith and keep moving in order to reach somewhere sooner or later. So maintaining this tradition is so is participating in education services, and the most part of education received is during sermons, Sunday service sermons, and also during workshops. Even if we have done workshops 1, 2, 3, 4 times, I think everyone has already experienced it. Every time we do a workshop, we still learn something new. We still learn something new. So we have to participate in the different holidays and always read Hondoke, do Hondoke in the morning. So this is a way of life that protects us. It's a way of life that protects us. And also it's a way to really receive the support of heaven. It's really a way to be with heaven, because heaven wants to support us. Heaven really wants us to be on the good path. Heaven is even more interested than us. And
that's why I believe for training our kids, I don't think, anyway, for me, to be honest, I believe we need heavenly support. And so I knew if I had to raise children from now on, like I don't know if I will have opportunity to raise up the grandchildren. My plan is different than what I started from before. True story is different, because a lot of small mistakes here and there, which really didn't help much. And but we have an opportunity, because a great opportunity actually. And if recognizing my personal limitation, and then I started focusing on heavenly help, not just sit down, and wait, but seeking for it through the condition. President Kadima was saying that true father saying, pray for them, pray. You have to pray and seek for their guidance. The guidance comes from in their heart, and the stimulate them is extraordinary. And they can find something they never heard before, or they realize something which they never realized before. So that's why, and the best way for me has been to show true parents' way, to show them true parents, like to show to them who are true parents, and to engage them with that relationship. Because Reverend Kadima said it also, that we join because we receive some kind of, we learn something, we have been loved and so on. Consequently, we join and we decided to sacrifice things. Same way, yeah, it's absolutely correct. Then we have to, if we show true parents, we show their love, their vision, definitely that will be a big catch for children. And of course, all come to create a good community. Well, a community where there is trust. It's also, when I think about it, it's really painful for we elders. We couldn't create that kind of community in a real sense, because, many other things, many reasons are there, but the community, trust in the communities wasn't strong enough to live with each other with sincerity. Beginning, it was, in my view, it was quite from 1975 until 85, these 10 years in my experience, it was quite strong, actually, because the majority of our community were living together. And we can share many things, even share sometimes our towels, which wasn't quite pleasant, because there is somebody, we are same bathroom, and you go to the towel, then he said, but you don't have towel, then he claim somebody's towel. But when it happened to you, when it come next time, you realize, well, this is not my body odor. Something, this is different. Even sometimes you find your toothbrush, somebody use it, of course. not by stealing, but just naturally we felt this kind of community where we share everything. So anyway, that time it was pretty strong. And by that time also, we didn't have a children. So there's no family. We were just bachelors somehow, living together. And but when family starting building up, for practical reasons or other reasons, then we couldn't maintain living together, even though true parents were advising, 3 family at least, few family living together. But it didn't happen in a real sense. Then we will start living by ourselves. And that wasn't helpful at all, in my view, in my experiences, because children then is not enough to have father and mother. And they want also to have a sibling, not only siblings inside, but also siblings in the community. So because of the limitation, they had to find other siblings, which is wasn't helpful at all. So basically, to develop a strong foundation of community, it has been always my dream. How are we going to do it? And we didn't do it as elders, which also I repent, to be honest. Because when you create a good community, people don't want to go out. Or when they go out, they want to come in. Obviously, because the whole thing is happiness, security, and peace. If we create a very attractive community system, it worked out very well. But sometimes we are in the places where even the houses or the rooms or the environment is so big, but nobody there. Everybody living in their own areas. For me, it's quite a big challenge for the development of spiritual development, social, and even mental development of our children. I can know that very well. Because when that environment is absent, of course, they have to find out themselves, because we are created for interdependence and go together with the community. So that's why it's extraordinarily important. So while we are starting this program now, working together, learning together, and with a foundation, a strong foundation of structure, then we can expand that to every corner of each nation. If 2-3 families are together, let's come together. Family day, I don't know, but just idea. Family day, once a week, once every 2 weeks, come together, cook, share, children are playing around. It's something to contemplate. Some of our kids already grown up. Well, I will not say too late, but getting late for such a kind of thing. We need another program. But there are many growing up, they are coming up, and they're young. So they need really that kind of environment. It protects them for the future. It protects them. Alone with the children I have to raise them alone is almost impossible. That's the true story. That's almost impossible, I guarantee. You will get in trouble. You will get in trouble. So each family, let us think together again, those, if possible, if certain practical possibilities there, let us think about it, do it, and work together, if not all the time living together, but at least once a month or once a week, let us come together. so our children can interact. I know that is what is missing at this moment. It's really painful for them, painful for parents, painful. And who is taking advantage? Well, it's the devil. You know, because nobody, we don't want it. Parent doesn't want it. Parent don't want it. Children don't want it. Heavenly parent don't want it. Okay, who want it then? See, that's the problematic. So it needs some kind of determination to come together. So to really not be too long, I wanted to really also emphasize our responsibilities, because you see, to support the tradition, we had to be aware. I had to be aware. What shall I do? In every community, in every association, in every relationship, we need to identify my responsibility. I had to identify my responsibility, the minimum responsibility I have. So particularly we human beings, we have been created by God with responsibility. And that is not a curse, it's a blessing. So we can be really free and we can enjoy life and have creativity to change and put things together, make puzzles and all these things. We can sing songs, we can do so many things. And so that responsibility needs to be recognized fundamentally. I have only 2 slides for that. Don't worry, I will not be long. I would like to really share just 2 slides. Ronkadima is advising, which is really I appreciate. We learn from true parents' word. Instead to invent things, it's better to learn about true parents' word. So this is what human responsibility is crucial. Whatever I finish talking about my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with children, how to build a community, my direct personal intervention is necessary. It will never happen just like that, like grass is growing. It cannot. I had to contribute it. So that's why I would like to read this 2 slides. Mrs. Barrow, if you can read that for me, please, so I can conclude. Mrs. Barrow is there? Oh, looks like she disappeared. Okay. Why
I'm here,
did
Chairman.
God give?
Sorry.
Well,
The mic was, yes, I needed. All right. Okay. Thank you. Human portion of responsibility. Why did God give human beings a portion of responsibility? It was to have us partake in the glorious work of creation. Also, by having us resemble God's creative nature, it was to qualify us to take all things of creation under our dominion. Further, it was to establish the absoluteness and perfection of the principle. It was for these 3 reasons.
So without going too much in detail on this, basically, what I would like to bring out here is, if I want a good relationship and trust between me and my wife, my spouse, I need to stand. I need to start. I cannot afford to wait. Principle doesn't work that way. I need to start to show and to win the trust. That is very important in my lifestyle, every day, every week, every month, constantly. If there is a mistake, misunderstanding, apologize. So that's the way to win. And keep promise. Keep promise is not always promise to buy you a car. It's even to promise when you are coming home. Where are you going? When you are coming home, at what time? You cannot say, for me, I feel like that. I'm coming home 8 o'clock, but end up coming home 10 o'clock. Oh, what happened? or the car traffic. I mean, it's quite complicated. So those small things, it creates some kind of, not necessarily people don't like you or me, but they just think we are incapable to do it. So it's another way to not trust our skills and ability to do this and this and that. So it creates a limitation in our relationship and a reserve. So I reserve it. You see? So we have to be practical because we have a responsibility in relation to everything. Everything. Husband, wife, parent, children, brothers and sisters, even towards the creation, everything we have is a responsibility because we are like a small God, and things will work only if we put our participation. So that is very crucial because it's easy to wait until something happens. Before I give, I want, well, he didn't give me anything. Before I greet, well, he didn't even greet me. So why you want me to greet? That kind of unusual way can happen. So anyway, continue next.
What is the human portion of responsibility? First, it is to become true children. Second, to become true brothers and sisters. Third, to become true couples. And fourth, to become true parents. That is why we are born as babies and then become children, siblings, couples, and parents. As parents, you can create children on behalf of God. Then you can experience internally and externally the reality of God's happiness when he created Adam and Eve.
So I think that summarizes what the vice president was sharing and also what the president was sharing, the regional president was sharing. So we really needed to wake up to this call, but together. By myself, impossible, for sure. We needed to wake up together that we help each other to become children of God, meaning learning from each other and encouraging each other, and that to complement each other in what they are good in heavenly side, and ignore, if I say ignore the challenging part or ignore their shortcoming, meaning we don't emphasize it while we are praying for it. We are praying, we can pray for somebody to have to have a good attitude, but we don't emphasize necessarily the bad attitude. So we really pray for that. And in that way, we can create some kind of foundation of trust in the community. We help each other to become God's children and eventually become God's children, and we will respect each other because we're going to recognize the value of my brothers and sisters. And we can have a feeling about my brothers and sisters, how the brothers and sisters are eating, where are sleeping, are they okay, are they sick? This kind of heart needed for strong, healthy, holy community. And on that foundation, one day, if that can reflect directly in my relationship with my spouse. And that is the building block now to be able to love my children and to love any children and to be able also to guide them with confidence. And the reward is the happiness, the purpose of our creation, the purpose of my creation. So if you only realize only happiness comes through this, then we're going to really redo our plan. Because nobody will say the purpose of his life is to go for suffering cause. No, the purpose is to have happiness. So we have to know now how to disclose the way to reach the happiness. This is the way. And when it discloses the way, we practice, get the result, and show how it is happening. So that's why we are really lucky to have our true parent as really the model and teaching all kind of a corner of human life in and out, in the physical and the spiritual world. All dimension has been completely explored. So we are lucky to have them. That's why, yeah, you're right, President Kadima. The example is truly our true parent. We don't want to go to see other philosophical book. I mean, some people were saying, oh, we may see how people do the marriage training in the books here and there. I mean, it's quite, why you want to go there? Okay, if you want to go to see how people do the preparation for marriage or what you call to facilitate the marriage with men and women, well, I think tell them first to show you where are those good examples, not in one generation, in 3 generations. Where are those 2 good examples? Some want to dig in our social mental situation. Well, it's good. Definitely there is a scientific way to address our physical issues, but we have to make sure we understand fundamentally our spiritual side, existence. And that is only explored through Heavenly Parent will, which is revealed through true parents. So we have to be careful where we are taking our exemplary cases. Yeah. So this is why it's amazing to have a true parent word anywhere, any circumstances, any direction, they are there to respond, to give a good response to our request. So we just need to, again, with my responsibility to find out how to reach out there, what they are saying about this topic. Everything is included. How amazing is that? Anyway, thank you. I wanted to share this to support completely this, what the leaders said is absolutely true, and I'm united with it. I definitely believe we will get there very soon. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Papa Kamara, pour ce...
Thank you very much, Papa Kamara, for this reflection. Very, very deep. I would really like to say it's deep because it really touched all the aspects, the substantial aspects of our daily life. Is not something, a teaching that was written in a board, but it's a life that was already lived. So if we want to reach another level, we have to do everything we have to do before it's too late. So thank you very much. Dear Cheon Eui Won Co-chair, dear Blessed Central families, we are almost at the end of our morning program. And as we started with a number of announcements, I would like to remind us that we have many announcements here that will permit us to understand what we have to do during this week. We are in a program, and this program has to go up to the month of May. So during this week, the dates and the time are not yet decided, but we are going to have a special meeting with parents and children, Jacob children, parents and Jacob children. It will be this week. And also, there will be a special meeting. All this week's meeting will be special meetings. We'll have another special meeting with the second generations who have a 27 years and above, and your parents, 27 years and above, and your parents. We are going to tell you at which date and at what time we're going to have these meetings. Also, still this week, we are going to have a meeting for special cases special species of lineage, of health, of physical, special cases, mental special cases. It will be also this week. And fourthly, still this week is really full. We'll have an orientation.
la réunion d'orientation de matching des trois générations. C'est-à-dire son
We have an
processus
orientation on 3 generations.
qui arrive, la bénédiction du
So the process of the 3 generation for this blessing on the 7th of May. So there will be an orientation for this blessing, special blessing. And also, as you know, we are preparing for the Johnny Temple inauguration in Korea. We have 210 days of a condition where we are doing 12 bows and 7 minutes prayer, and also we visit our brothers and sisters who have difficulties to continue following the path. And also we have the contributions so that we can all see this temple is mine. And that is why at African level, the regional president already presented our goal. We need 1,000 families who can contribute $800 for $800,000. Not only that, but also youths say they want to do their own contributions with $60,000. That we are at 800 and $60,000. So I'm going to ask the technical team to help us understand at what level we are with these contributions. Also, actually, not all the contributions are here because there are contributions of yesterday evening, the contributions of this morning. So we have the Congo, we have Benin. You can see the amounts just beside. We have Congo Brazzaville, we have Zambia, and we have Ivory Coast. These are the top 5 in the contribution with the amounts aside. And also others are coming, they are doing their best, but we really wish that they should do more than their best. This is for parents, it is for families. Now we are going to move on to the contribution of our younger ones, our children. If the technical team can help us. So in the top 5, we have Zambia, we have Benin, we have DR Congo, we have Rwanda, we have Ghana, and other nations also are coming. As I said, there were contributions yesterday during Sunday service that was not added yet. So don't contact your national leader to say that you contributed but you're not seeing it yet, because there were contributions yesterday who are not yet updated. So thank you very much. Thank you to the technical team. Without taking more time, we are going to close here. Except if I hope I did not forget anything at the level of announcements, and if it's the case, we are going to invite the regional president for the closing remarks. Regional president, you have the floor.
Merci à tout le monde.
Thank you, everyone, for coming here once more this morning.
Nos grands remerciements
Great thank you to our Cheon Eui Won Co-chair for his contribution, very important contribution, and to all the leaders present here.
Le lundi, pendant cette période, c'est une journée
Every
très
Monday during this period is very important for all the Heavenly Parenthood community of Shin Africa. And let's not forget all the other conditions we are doing.
Une victoire tout à fait particulière en cette
For
année.
victory, a particular victory of this year, of the Black Rapid of this year, where we are accompanying our True Mother celebrating 8 years. And in this year, where the temple that has been waited by all generations, all saints and sages will be inaugurated. And a year where we really don't have time to rest because we are preparing something special, centered on the
Et
regeneration.
les leaders à plus d'actions sur place.
I really ask leaders to do more actions on the field, do visitations. Many are ignorant of this program and don't really understand what it means.
Par des actions sur le terrain. Il y a beaucoup
So, with the actions on the field, I myself was witness of the fact that many of them have difficulties to follow the program online. We are the whole African community that wants to create a model that our true model wants to present to all the other regions. Not only that,
au concert des nations, au concert des continents, et pour prouver notre amour.
we also have to prove our love to true parents, our filial piety, our absolute obedience, our sense of sacrifice and service for true parents, because Africa is a mother of humanity. And as a mother of humanity, we have to lift ourselves at that level. That is, working together while being determined to give results.
En toutes circonstances, en toutes causes, retenons que nous avons le modèle. C'est le vrai.
So we really have to know that we have the model that is our heavenly parents of heaven and humankind. They are the ones connecting us to heavenly parents. Living this way,
Le parent céleste va être heureux.
our true parents will be happy, will support us, and nothing will be impossible for Africa to realize great things. So thank you once more. May the love of our Heavenly Parent, His blessings and grace be with you. Adieu.
Adieu. Merci.
Adieu. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are going to close this session by offering our 3 minutes prayer to Heavenly Parents and true parents. After which, we will offer a bow to Heavenly Parents and true parents. So please, let's all pray together.
Aju. Aju. Aju.
Aju.
Merci beaucoup. Nous allons
Thank you very much. We are going to offer a half bow to heavenly parents and true parents.
si la technique peut nous aider.
The technical team can help us display the picture. Thank you.
Change in, change promener.
Chonjin, Champomanemge, Kyombe, Barrow.
Gloire, honneur, aux parents célestes.
Honor and glory to heavenly parents and true parents.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Parti d'ici pour des questions.
We can
Nous allons donc te faire
leave here without taking any pictures. You all know that. So
ces personnes qui
please open your cameras. We're going to take family pictures.
nous aider, donc nous allons
The technical team will help us. We are going to start with some more heart. Let's go. Some more hearts. Right, smiling.
le sourire de la semaine,
And this is the first smile of the week.
le sourire de détermination, de
The first smile of determination, the first smile of engagement, the first smile of victory. This smile represents today something really good because today is the 20th and the 20th is to do things of the 20th. So yes, all smile. Thank you. Okay. Give the possibility to everyone to be part of the picture. Yes, smile. Everyone has to smile. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the other one is this small heart. Yeah, we cannot go without doing this. Those one in the couple, you can do it together. You can make a competition of being a couple. I can see the regional president is beating everyone with his beautiful heart. When I see Reverend Nambe, he's coming very strongly. Papa Auna Mendy, wow, that's very beautiful. I can see Kanda family prefer the big heart. Thank you. Thank you very much. Papa Do is alone. Thank you. Still beautiful. Okay, it is very beautiful, Mama Alagnon, Papa Alagnon. The eagle is doing a beautiful heart. Everyone is doing a beautiful heart. Please, let's keep the heart. We are many of us here. There are many pages. Let everyone be in the picture. We don't know in which screen we are. Just the technical team can be sure of that. So please, let's keep the heart and keep the smiles. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear Bless Central family. We have many meetings this week, so please be alerted. We are going to send the date and the time of the next meetings. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.